Our first topic in the weekly news roundup, we want to talk about surveillance pricing. Maybe we'll get into some of those weird conspiracy theories, what I think may and may not be happening. And we'll kind of get to the end here, and we'll end up bashing both parties. And we'll get out and do some fun stuff over this. So when it comes to surge pricing, what we want to start with is first, do we understand what we are talking about? Or surveillance pricing, I'm sorry. Surveillance pricing is when the data that companies have collected against you, all that's been bought and sold and all those data brokers, is now used against you to adjust your price. They might adjust your price down if you think you'll kind of buy something, but not if it goes over a certain amount. Or they might adjust it up if you're like, my mother died, they're collecting all this. My mother died. I need to get across the country. What's the first flight? We'll catch you on a flight. Of course, Delta is one of the ones that has used that type of a pricing approach. The other place we've actually seen it is one of the office supply stores. I'm not sure if it was Staples, Office Max, whichever, one of those office supply stores. I think it was the St. Louis area. And they used not the targeted micro surveillance data, like the information specifically on you, but they used effectively the type of data that is collected by, what was proposed by Google and the Flock, the Federated collection of cohorts. What was that L stand for? I forget. This is, of course, the same exact approach Mozilla is trying to collect data on. They want to privately collect all of your data for the advertisers, and it's all based on collecting data inside of these cohorts. And so effectively, the office supply company a number of years ago used that information and said, hey, these are lower income people, so let's jack their prices up. Because, they tend to purchase things more emotionally than intellectually, so they'll be more inclined to pay a higher price in a neighborhood that's a little bit better with their funds. And that really is a concern that is going on. Of course, there was some controversy and discussion about this just a couple months ago because Walmart started putting in the digital price tags, and there were questions about, are they going to be changing everybody's prices you walked on the aisles? Or are they going to engage in surge pricing, which is basically like price gouging? And so that really is the principle. So, of course, New York having a look at this stuff, they say when you search for a product online, you might think you're getting the same price as everyone else. Think again. Your price might be different based on everything from your location to what you have looked at online. So they are talking here about mostly online shopping, micro-targeting based on specific factors they have about you. The state of New York is forcing companies to come clean when they set prices using customer data. So according to the law, now they must reveal when they're doing it. Not a ban of it, just let you know when you're doing it. So they're calling this the Algorithmic Price Disclosure Act. And so it's very interesting. We can't look at this, go, yeah, this is kind of dystopian. Maybe we should not do this. No, you just need to tell people when you're doing it. So New York, a swing and a miss. Right. So then they talk here a little bit about the algorithms that go into this. And a lot of this is summarized in a report from the Federal Trade Commission. And they did a surveillance pricing staff perspective report on this. So it's a little 10-page report. They talk about surveillance pricing in here, and they talk about companies collect or obtain individualized information about their actual or potential customers, can potentially use a variety of features to target prices to specific consumers, and to charge particular groups higher prices or use those features to generate greater profits. And so they're basically kind of looking at it. There's a lot of redactions in his. I hope this isn't like state secrets. I think it's probably just like comments from individual people. I know I highlighted a bunch more stuff, but apparently all my highlights didn't show up. So we'll just go back to this article and highlight some of the summaries. It basically went in, which is fascinating because it went into a lot of what they're using, how they're using it, use case examples. Actually, there's one of those use case examples I think that I can probably find, and it was very fascinating. So this is different locations, different prices. So pricing targeting, price targeting tool could be potentially used at office supply retailers to determine different product prices for each of its stores using data gleaned about a nearby competitor's pricing. So if you have more competitors nearby, you lower the prices. If you have fewer competitors nearby, you raise prices. We see this a lot of times in gas stations. I travel through one city in Pennsylvania that the three major Pennsylvania gas stations are all moving in the one city they're converging in. Gas is like 60% cheaper than anywhere else in the state because you got the three gasoline behemoths in the city all fighting over it. But you go up to like the north central, and there's really like Nittany Oil has a monopoly on gas stations, and prices up there are like 50-60% higher than anywhere else in the state. And that's kind of some of the things they're talking about. So search results for new parents. If a consumer is profiled as a new parent, the consumer may intentionally be shown higher prices on baby thermometers on the first page in their in-app search results based on residential zip codes and the time of purchase. Tools could also be potentially used to collect behavioral details that a retailer could use to forecast a customer's state of mind, like using a shopper's selection of fast delivery shipping in an order of infant formula to infer the shopper could be a rushed parent who may be less price sensitive. And so that's really the type of stuff they're looking at in this. Of course, there's nobody up here going, yeah, we should kind of stop doing this. But no. You just need to disclose when you're doing it, which brings us back to the exact same problem with all the privacy policy laws in this country. Privacy policies do not protect your privacy. They disclose how your privacy is being violated, and that should probably be stopped. And so looking at the report suggests companies could use a wide variety of customer data to achieve their goals. Everything from the geolocation, what they've looked at, also the phone apps that you install, things like that, all those trackers in there. So having a long history, with Staples, 2013, Staples was found to be adjusting prices for people according to their distance from a rival's store. This changed higher prices for households with lower incomes. That's what Staples did. One report found Target charging more for goods viewed on the app than when they were inside the Target store than when they were outside. And then the Cartwright Act antitrust law ban sharing price algorithms that can be used to use competitor data between businesses. So there's a California law that prevents some of this type of stuff being used. But what we see here is this idea of all the surveillance pricing. And this is what brought in some conspiracy theories about this, where they were suggesting that Walmart now switching to digital price tags, which is true, they did. And the idea is that people were concerned that this would mean Walmart could go through and change the prices. Now, what they said is they could change the prices in a matter of a few minutes now versus it would take 48 hours to change the prices throughout the store properly in the past. Now, this is not an automated online pricing system that Walmart is using. They are using a system that the employee still must go around with the phone app and scan the barcode and adjust the pricing. So it's not like a full online automated system. But the concern here is that mass merchant among several retailers, including Whole Foods, Kohl's, and Kroger, to replace traditional price stickers on shelves with small screen electric labels that can be updated remotely. Walmart says theirs are not remotely updated, and there are indeed a couple types of these. Like Best Buy's are updated remotely, and those are tied to the POS system, which can tell you in that particular store, those tags can tell you if the product is in stock. So even if the shelf is empty, you might still have some in stock. It's just up in a cage somewhere. And Walmart's, they're not using the same type of tags. I've looked at the tags in the digital Walmarts, and they're not the same type that are tied into the POS system like Best Buy has. So they say among concerns, lawmakers and some consumers suggest it could use to surge pricing. This is a concern. So a storm is coming through. Like right now, I'm stuck in the Mojave Desert in a wash. And so I don't know, I might be here for a while. And so over here, a big storm is coming in. It's in the middle of a desert. Big storms aren't particularly common in the desert. What stops them from jacking up prices just prior to the big storm? So people run in, buy up everything for all their supplies because, they've never seen these raindrops before, at least not since last year. And they are convinced that the world is going to end. But it won't. It'll proceed. It'll carry on. But the concern is they can more easily raise the prices up. So according to Walmart, a store associate can change product prices across the store in just minutes via DSLs, while the existing sticker system can take up to 2 days. Okay, so who is worried and why? Some fear they can cut employee hours. I don't know. I've been enough Walmarts where the regular employees that have to be there anyway are the ones stuck doing this. I'm not sure it's going to reduce employee hours. I think it might actually reduce the amount of work an employee has to do. But I don't know. I didn't ask. If you're a Walmart employee, let me know your thoughts on that. Widespread adoption of digital price tags appear poised to enable large grocery stores to squeeze consumers to increase profits. Now, they listed here, and I included this article from Forbes because Forbes has lost its ever-loving mind, by the way. They tell us 4 ways digital prices can benefit shoppers and retailers alike. So these are the 4 ways. Now, the first 2, I think, are a benefit to shoppers. The use labels to access product information. Okay, great. For people who meander around the store with a QR code or a phone or something, they can click on the button here and they can use the information and get more information about that product directly just by scanning a QR code on the app, which is cool. Okay, fine. Not for me, but some people that's very useful for. Okay, so reduce confusion over multi-channel pricing consistency. Okay, if all of these prices are all tied to the online, the app, and in the store, and they're better unified utilizing a system like this, that's actually very beneficial. I can look at stores and do my research. Like, I remember these days, I don't know if you guys did this, broke college student, broke graduate student, I need a new printer. I would drive to 6 different stores in town to find the cheapest price on the printer, only to find the first store they had it cheaper by 10 cents. So I drove all the way back to the first store to buy the printer. I drove all around town to save 10 cents. Okay. All right. Guilty of that a long time ago. But now I could sit down and I could say, okay, who might have this product? And if I look on 4 different websites and go, this retailer has it in stock and this is the price, it saves me a lot of time, and that's good. So I buy into that. Now, these 2 down here, the 2 marked in red, the Forbes has lost their ever-loving mind. These are not benefits for consumers. Collect more productive consumer insights. You know what? I do not want Kroger collecting consumer insights about how many times I buy macaroni and cheese. Okay, no. I do not want them collecting any form of consumer insights. I want them to throw a bunch of crap on the shelf, let me walk in, buy the stuff that I want, and let me walk out. And I didn't want any data collection in the process, which is why I do not use Shoppers Club's cards. And by the way, here's a tip, but you save 15%. Almost every one of those stores, they will accept a random string of 9 digits or 10 digits, whatever it is, 10 digits. They will accept a random string of 10 digits for a phone number. They are not actually looking for a phone number. Their systems are not checked to see if it's a valid phone number. All they want is a number. You go in and you enter 10 random digits on those keypads, you are going to get the same discounts. But I might save 5 cents on gas. Oh, Lord. Okay. You know what? Okay, fine. You are willing to give up all of your data for stupid information. You enjoy yourselves. All right. I have no more words. I'll just be over here collecting my privacy. Okay. This one. Deliver more you get me consumer rewards. I don't want consumer rewards. Okay, I can get the same prices. And by the way, as far as saving the money on gas, there's always a couple gas stations in town. You go and you pay cash and you get the same prices you would paying your credit card with them collecting all of your data. All right. All that saving gas money does is it locks you into their partner gas station as well, which sometimes might be higher. And, you save 5 cents, but it's still, 5 cents more expensive than the gas station down the street. The gas points are useless. But that's the concern. Now, other people are saying that they could go in and they could follow you around the store and change the price in real time. while I think there's parts of that are technically possible right now, I don't think that's something we have the full capability of doing. Okay, just case in point, look at the Amazon stores. They wanted you to go in and scan your palm print. You scan your palm print up there, right? And then as you scan your palm print, you would tie that into your credit card, and you just walk through the store and pick up a bunch of stuff and walk right out. And it's supposed to be this whole AI-ready store, and they do everything. And people are noticing, why does it take like 4 or 5 hours for my credit card to be billed and my invoice to come to me? Well, because they didn't actually have any AI, and they didn't actually have a system that worked. What they did is they had those stores having so many cameras, and they were literally outsourcing it to third world countries and paying people a couple of pennies to watch you walk throughout the whole store, and those people had to manually submit the order. Right. So while the technology might technically sort of exist, it is not nearly good enough that I could walk into the store as a human being and I could walk down the aisle, and then they sense me walking down the aisle and they change the price tags before I get there. I pick the item up, noting the price tag. I throw it in my cart. Proceed to meander around the store for another half hour, and then I walk up to a random cash register, and that price is adjusted on that cash register. That's asking for a lot, even for modern technology, even for Amazon partnering with Walmart partnering with Microsoft. Now, are the various individual components possible? Yes. Verizon has the old patent that Yahoo had, which allowed basically this is a Bluetooth beacon that collects the advertising data and then transmits it to a billboard down the road, showing you an ad relevant to you based on the profile of your phone. CVS will track you around their stores if you have their app installed on your phone and Bluetooth turned on. They will give you notifications on discounts in that aisle as you walk down the stores. So they have the technology to know who you are and scan it. I just don't think they have as easy as an ability to keep an identity on you as the marker and then change the price at that register right at that time you approach it. I'm not sure they have that technology yet. They would probably love that technology. However, there is a way around. The giant grocery stores in State College and several other stores of that brand, I think Kroger brands also do this kind of stuff as well. You can go in, use their app, use their self-checkout gun, and you walk in and you take a self-checkout gun, which is tied to your app, and you can walk down the aisle and scan your items as you put them in the cart, and then you walk on out of the store, and then, you push the button to pay, and then you walk on out of the store. And as you do that, then what ends up happening is your system will automatically bill your account, and it will go ahead and proceed down and bill you for everything you do. In that type of setting, I think they do actually have the ability to do the surge pricing. I think they do in that particular scenario, if you want my opinion. Are they doing that? Honestly, I don't know. That would be an interesting study that you would want to do. All right, now, here's where this gets a little bit kind of weird, all right? Here's a little bit more. Consumer advocates warn digital price labels could result in surge pricing. So this shift enables a practice known as surveillance pricing, which can use AI to adjust prices in real time based on changing demand. One concerning outcome is surge pricing. So this means that as different times come out, then what ends up happening is you will find a circumstance by which you can find yourself paying higher prices. Ice cream, sunscreen, fans go higher prices during heat waves, emergency supplies during other times. And really the reality is that surge pricing can happen. Now, we have another circumstance to consider here. And this is that circumstance. Are you ready for this one? We just had this giant EBT crisis. And I have a issue with my monitor right now. So give me just a second to see if I can get this working again. Almost. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that works. All right. So we have this EBT crisis that just came up. Okay. So in this, a whole lot of low-income people got cut off on their funds. And it caused this giant national debate. Now we're questioning all these things. And a lot of interesting things came out. One of these is that 10% of all purchases on Snap were soft drinks and sodas. So I did some digging around, and according to The Hill, and I think this is a recent article, according to The Hill, 20 to 25% of Coca-Cola revenue comes from EBT SNAP benefits. Now, you should not be able to buy soft drinks on SNAP. It does stand for Supplemental Nutrition. I think Supplemental Nutrition is an access program or something program. But it's Supplemental Nutrition. There is no nutrition inside of Coca-Cola. It is not nutritious. All right, it is pure sugar water. It causes diabetes. The amount of people having health crises on EBT is significantly higher than those not on EBT, which is another interesting fact I didn't grab articles on. But here's the thing. These digital price tags and this type of surveillance pricing leads to higher prices in lower income areas where the government is subsidizing the food. In which case, now our government taxes go to provide 20 to 25% of Coca-Cola's profit, which is why Coca-Cola is lobbying the government to keep soft drinks in the EBT SNAP programs. So, the same thing that happens in college education. The government gets involved, throws a bunch of money at it with student loans. The universities jack up the prices because there's this infinite pool of government money that's somebody else's responsibility to pay. So surveillance pricing literally leads to increased costs, like increased prices in areas where low-income people are, where taxpayers fund it, all to boost 20 to 25% of the profits of the Coca-Cola company. The Republicans are right. We need to end EBT. The Democrats are right. We need to end surveillance pricing. Can we come together on a couple of these principles? I'm not saying for the entire end of EBT. I just think there's a lot more abuse than we think is in there, and we need to address that abuse. But at the same time, I think the concept of surveillance pricing absolutely needs to be stopped. So let me know your thoughts about all that surveillance pricing stuff in the comments down below. That is some pretty wild stuff and very interesting indeed. So let me know your thoughts down there, and we'll have a look at the full stream link is down below. If you're just catching the part of this, you want to watch the whole stream link, that'll be in the description as well.